Okay, so today my youngest tells me that her older sister, my middle, is going to take her to a local mall. And I said, "Oh, are you getting a shirt made?" She said, "Yes." And she said, "I guess what it's going to say." I said, "What?" She said, um, "I believe it was girls, dot, 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 and then on the back, run the world," or something like that. Now, I have no problem with like levels of self empowerment. But what I told her is, I said, that's not a true statement. Now, maybe one day it will be a true statement, but as of now, it's not a true statement. And we certainly want to get people to feel like there is hope in regards of what they can aspire to based off of demographic and oppressions and things like that. I'm all for that. But at the same time, do we do this while teaching what I believe are soft levels of separation and superiority? And what I explained to her is, I said, you can't expect to walk out into the world and say, I am a woman, therefore I run things, because somebody will no doubt like smack that down and say, no, you don't. Maybe in your circle you do, and that's a fair thing for somebody to push back and say. And what I said, and the question I asked, I said, so would it be fair, like, if you were outside getting ice cream and all the girls got ice cream, but none of the boys got free ice cream? She said, no. I said, well, then that's what we're talking about when we're talking about setting people up to believe that they run things or are entitled to things just based off of a certain demographic representation, I guess it would be the word. So we've seen this for years. And do I think that like men have done a great job running the world? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And do I think more women should be in power? Absolutely. But I also think more natives should be in power. More Asians should be in power, and not just in their own like communities, but overall. If this is a melting pot and the world is becoming more diverse, we need to see more of that. And I explained to her that in the history of our country, we've never had a woman president, so we can't say that women run the world. So as this talk went on, they went on to say something about her mother plays a song by Beyonce that says "Girls Run the World" or something. I said, okay, so what if Adele had a song that said "White people run the world"? And because we've talked so much about Rosa Parks and things like that, she knew immediately what that meant. And so again, I'm not trying to shoot down somebody's belief that, yes, of what's possible, but what the difference between what's possible and what we're trying to teach children as reality can be a very fine line, and you have to walk it carefully. Children don't always understand what a Beyonce is talking about. That's why there's children's songs in a lot of cases. The message can be taken far differently. And so when you're even comparing ourselves to millionaires who can tell us these things, oh, you can run the world. Well, then why do we go to work? Why do we go to school? If we run the world, we would have things our way, and we don't. We don't in a lot of cases. But I'm getting off track. So what I said is, I said this is about a higher level of understanding, a higher level of just being a human, because a lot of things we don't have control over. Being a woman, being of color, being a male. So Muslim, Christian, gay, straight, all of these things, people are just people. And together we can run the world. Together we can have a better collective understanding of different demographics, different experiences, and what that means as far as people living justly amongst themselves. But just to say that girls run the world, boys run the world, whites run the world, Christians run the world, it's not, I don't find it personally a positive message to pass on to my children. Am I trying to tear down everything her mother, and she share? No, but I would be remiss if I weren't to point out that we don't have control over a lot of things that we are born into, such as gender, such as nationality. Like, we don't have control over that. So to have an overinflated sense of pride about that, in my estimation, is a bit short-sighted. Now, what you do from a child growing as an adult to say, I've accomplished this, that's different. And to say I've done this as a black person in a predominantly white, or I've done this as a woman in a predominantly male, or as a gay person predominantly straight, I understand those, and that's all to be cheered and given its credit. But at some point, shouldn't we be teaching children that we're all kind of the same? We all should have the same. We have suffered different setbacks. I'm not saying dismiss that, but moving forward and what we can do ourselves and how we can treat other people and expect to be treated, we certainly have control. That's the world you run. And that's what I imparted to her. And when I said that, she said, that's what I tell mom all the time, that I'm in control. And she said, her mom says, well, you're not in control. I said, but you are. And I said, I'm not saying this to be telling you to go home and disobey. The same way you obey when you're with me, obey when you're with her the other half of the time. But what that means is we can't control your thinking. We can't control how you feel about things. That's real control of your world. So we need to take that, mold that, shape that into positivity, good energy, things that we can give back to the world, rather than to say, I'm over here and I run it based off of something that I had no control over. No, you can run things based off of how you treat people and how people treat you, and there's a mutual respect. It's just me, maybe I'm crazy, but that's just my belief system, and that's what I will pass on. That in large parts we celebrate our diversities, but we can certainly find many common grounds on how to treat one another, rather than seeking, supremacy or soft entitlements through slogans like such and such runs this or that or whatever. Guys, have a fantastic day. Peace, love, unity, solidarity.